Okay, I just have to read this verbatim. Thank you.
Imagine we're all on the toilet.
Okay. About 25 years ago, I began my professional horsemanship journey. My goal in this journey was to connect to the heart and to the mind of the horse, and to help people have a better understanding of the possibility of this connection. And surprisingly, I started building a business on that foundation. What I started to learn was that communicating with a horse by exchanging a heartfelt feel was bringing an awareness into my own self-concept, my embodiment, and the rhythms and how I walked through life started to slow down. The more present and grounded I became within myself with their help, the more I realized that they were aware of my own thoughts. They knew when I was present, when my mind drifted, if I was stressed, and seemed to understand my intention. I got to figure this out. Press the big green button. Okay. A few years later, when I began my biodynamic craniosacral journey, I started to understand on a deeper level what it was that I was feeling when I was working with the horses. I was able to put a name to these rhythms. So today, I want to share a little bit about that. Oh. In biodynamic craniosacral, we recognize 4 rhythms. The slowest being primary respiration, which is a 100-second cycle. This is the rhythm I want to focus on today, as it's the only rhythm that originates outside of our body. This rhythm has deep therapeutic significance, and we all have access to it. This rhythm flows through us from a therapeutic field found in nature. I've not only been feeling it in this room all weekend, but a therapeutic field has been referenced in many times in other presentations. Oh, sorry, that was a video. Those are the rhythms. Okay. The rhythmic flow of primary respiration, also known as the breath of life, expresses itself in living bodies in 100-second cycles. So this means when it flows through us, there's a 50-second wave one direction and a 50-second wave back. We are fluid bodies, and our fluids have tidal rhythms, like our own internal ocean. Primary respiration is the slowest documented rhythm to date in our system. In my line of work, we recognize primary respiration as a field that initiates therapeutic correction. It constantly emits accessible versions of perfection. It is felt in a meditative state. It's felt in nature and in stillness. Primary respiration actually has been a source for healing in many indigenous cultures throughout time. It's a field that surrounds us and carries the knowledge and blueprint of our origins. It's a unified field that supports life as an expression of consciousness. We are all part of this field, and we all have access to it. The rhythm in the field is the same, 50 seconds one direction and 50 seconds back. It has been documented in the human body as early as conception in the embryonic fluids. German anatomist and embryologist Erich Blechschmidt suggests that an external force creates the spatial orientation within which the fluids of the embryo organize. Oh, sorry. Geneticist and physicist Mei Wan Ho states in her book, The Rainbow and the Worm, that there is a driving consciousness in our fluid body that has memory from an embryological state, meaning there is a guiding force in which she finds representation all throughout her book and her quest for what is life. Shamanism is a healing tradition found in almost all ancient and primitive cultures. It recognizes a divine ordering principle at work in the universe and spiritual roots of creation. The Navajo have a similar word for the breath of life. Ni-chi refers to the air, the atmosphere in its entirety, when still and when in motion. It is conceived of having a holiness and powers. Ni-chi suffuses all of nature. It is responsible for giving life, thought, speech, and the power of motion to all living things. Ni-chi is also the means of communication between all elements of the living world. The Ni-chi enters and leaves humans through the whorls on their fingers and their toes, and the whorl pattern in their hair on the top of their heads. We also find references for primary respiration, or the breath of life, in poetry and cultures around the world. Breath is the soul, and soul is the breath. Once man has touched the depths of his own being by the help of the breath, then it becomes easy for him to become at one with all that exists on heaven and in earth. No. Even theoretical scientists are documenting that the space between us is not empty. Rather, it's full of an energetic field that acts as a fluidic medium and carries interactive consciousness. The cycle of timing, the 100-second cycle, has also been found in nature. Oceanographers have identified a slow rhythm deep in the ocean called the deep sea ocean wave. It has a 50-second cycle one direction and a 50-second cycle back. This is a picture of slime mold. It's a protoplasm, the most primordial multicellular animal-plant. Slime mold has no membrane or tissue differentiation. It has a total fluid being. It is a total fluid being that moves in a constant stream of 50-second cycles. In 1954, professor of botany William Seifrieds studied slime mold and discovered not only does it have a 50-second cycle, but there is an external force guiding it and even repairing it, causing Seifrieds to also question what is life. There's been thousands of studies and papers written with babies and how they form their nervous system within the first 3 months. One continuous documentation is how babies move their focus. They'll focus on their mother and just stare at her for a documented time of 100 seconds before they change their focus either to themselves or to their environment. Another example of primary respiration at work, as researchers document how the baby's focus on their mother is like they're resetting their system. Primary respiration, or the breath of life, it not only attunes us to nature and our natural state, but nature attunes us to primary respiration. So how do we slow down to orient to primary respiration? One way is to connect to our heartbeat. This can be a very powerful place to find stillness, which helps us find the slower rhythms in nature. It has been scientifically proven that connecting to your heartbeat lowers anxiety and depression. Even more powerful is connecting to the pauses between our heartbeat. Our heart is lined with quiescent cells, meaning these are quiet cells just hanging out in the lining of our heart, and can be a beautiful place to orient to stillness. We actually have the ability to lower our heart rate just by focusing on it. Try connecting to your heartbeat and the pauses in between with your hand on your horse. They are highly intuitive animals who live in the slower rhythms of nature. And they are great conduits for us to feel the potency in the space as the air fills with primary respiration and brings us back to coherence. So I'll end this with a quote from Andrew Taylor Still. He was the founder of the first school of osteopathy back in the 1800s. He wrote this in the 1800s when their life was already much slower than the pace we live in now. All nature seemed to wait in hushed expectancy. With the iron hand of will, I barred the gates of memory, shut out the past with all its old ideas. My soul took on a receptive attitude. My ear was tuned to nature's rhythmic harmony. Thank you for listening.